Ladies and gentlemen, we have another episode of the Coach's Corner, and we have player relations and recruiting director. Did I say it right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Ulysses Hall, Coach Hall here from Georgia Southern University. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Enjoying vacation. A little bit
Oh,
of a
vacation.
vacation. A little bit of
I
a
don't know what
vacation.
that's like yet.
I've taken 3 calls from players today dealing with stuff.
Okay.
I answered, so I can't be mad at them for calling. I answered, but it's good to have a little bit of a vacation before you get back to work.
Yeah. So when do you get back to work? What's that
Officially, I will be back in Statesboro, late July. Like,
time? Uh-huh.
so if anyone's looking for me down there, I'm not there.
Late July, you can catch him there. I really want you to do an intro before we get into it. So much I have as it pertains to recruiting, because recruiting is one of my things, one of my babies. So I do want to get into the nitty gritty of recruiting, but I want you to introduce yourself and kind of tell people kind of your journey and how you got here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Ulysses Hall. For those that don't know my full name, a lot of people in the industry call me U Hall. They kind of just it's stuck as a
Wow.
player, So I started. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, originally.
Okay.
The land, hometown. But
Mhm.
don't do that. Don't do. I see you making the face. Don't do that. I went to college at Shaw University, um, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina. I love the South so much. After I graduated, um, wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. Had a journalism degree. Had a lot of offers to be an intern at NBC, WRAL, which I think was a CBS affiliate out there. News and Observer. I tried it. It was okay. Did well at it. I love the game too much.
Uh-huh.
I want to coach. I have a great mom. She said, "Come on, I'm in Atlanta. Come on, you stay with me. Figure it out." I got hired at Woodward Academy in College Park, Georgia, as an
Okay.
eighth grade coach.
Yeah.
Worked my way up from eighth grade to coaching varsity that same year. Got another varsity job at Centennial High School up in Roswell, Georgia. Left Centennial, was at Decatur for 2 years as a coordinator, and then I got accepted to AFCA's. Now it's called 35 under 35 now. It
Okay.
used to be Future Football Coaches of America. It was the Future Football Coaches Academy, and then it turned into 30 under 30. So it
Uh,
actually got switched into to 30 under 30 right after. Well, pretty much when we got there. So it was 30 under 30. I'm class of 2014, 30 under
okay.
30 coaches, which was great. And then for me, college opportunities kind of took off. I went back home to Ohio to work at Ohio Wesleyan University for 3 years.
Yeah.
Left there. Um, Went to go work at Trinity International in Chicago.
Mhm.
This is where I'm, visiting here right now here in Chicago. Worked at Trinity. Then I left there to go be a coordinator again at Briarcliff in Iowa. COVID happened.
Uh-huh.
We got fired as a staff after that gruesome year. Went to Alderson Broaddus
So
in
wait,
West
you guys,
Virginia.
you had to let go of staff during
We
the
got
COVID?
we got let go after COVID. I mean, literally, this is how it went down. The AD came into our office the Friday before our last game, said, "Look, I know it's been a crazy year. Um, you guys have been grinding. It's been rough. You guys are good. We lost our last game, which we figured we were going to do because we weren't very good.
Mhm.
Had players out, quarantining. Brought us in Monday and said, "Hey, we're going to let you guys go." After he just told us we were leaving, but water under the bridge. It's a
Wow.
rough business.
Yeah. So did
Immediately
they
got
get rid of the program or just got rid of the staff?
I got rid of the staff.
Okay. All
Just got
right.
rid of the
Sorry.
staff. It's okay. It's all right.
Going down the
It's na-
timeline, I just had to clarify, like, okay,
yep.
all right.
Nature of the business.
That is the business. That's true.
Yes. Got hired at Alderson Broaddus in West Virginia. So here I am moving back across country again.
Mhm.
And ended up, which is still closer to Cleveland. By that time, my mom was
Very
back
close.
in Cleveland. So it
Mhm.
made it easier. Left Alderson Broaddus and went to John Carroll right there in Cleveland.
Mm.
Worked at John Carroll. Had an amazing year at John Carroll. And then we had a head coaching change, even after having a good year. Was trying to figure it out then. Was gonna keep me on staff. I got offered the opportunity to go to the NFL NCAA Academy. That had been my
Okay.
second time. I did it once while I was at Ohio Wesleyan, and this was my second time doing it. Came back. He and I just, didn't work out. Went separate ways. I got hired at Oberlin College. Might have been there 2 weeks, and then I got a Bill Walsh internship with the Washington Commanders. That
Yeah.
was amazing. Finished that up. Went back to Oberlin. Finished that year, and then ended up at Georgia Southern. So I got to Georgia Southern in 2024, and this will be my second season with Georgia Southern. So
All right.
it's
So
been a
you're,
journey.
yeah, I'm glad because I had a fraction of written down of where you've been. So I needed you to give me the whole rundown of all the places that you've been. So with the Commanders, was that Ron Rivera you were
That was
under?
Ron. Yep, Ron
Okay.
Revere. I worked under him, and I'm a defensive guy. But when I was in Washington, I worked with Eric Bieniemy. Uh,
Oh, okay.
so I
Okay.
worked for him on the
EB.
offensive side. EB
EB
is the
is what
guy.
some folks call him.
EB is the guy. Great
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Awesome dude.
Yeah. Do you still have a connection? Did you have a connection with EB prior or did you
I did not. We
okay.
text every blue moon. He's a busy
Mhm.
man, but he will text you back, and he knows who you are. He'll chop it up with you for a minute, and
Yeah.
then some time ago again, it's like, all right, bro, what's going on? So, but yeah, he's a good dude. So
We want to see EB back in the league. We really do. So
he's there now. He's there.
where's
He
he at?
in
Who's he with?
Chicago, coaching running
Who's he,
backs.
when?
He got hired with this new coach with
This
Denver.
year. Oh, okay. I was not tracking that. So that's news to
Mm-hmm.
me. I
Yep.
thought because he was over what, UCLA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
He's
right.
back
So
in the
yeah.
league now.
All right. Well, look, I feel like I manifested that, even though it's already happened. I just didn't know he was back in the league in Chicago. Now I want to get we heard about your journey here and the Bill Walsh I get diversity internship because
Mm-hmm.
I keep want to call it award. It's not an award. It's something that I think is has given a lot of people opportunities in
Mm-hmm.
this league, and I want to talk about its importance. So, can you help me kind of lay the foundation of why it's so important, and what doors it opens for men and women for in the NFL in the
I
NFL? Excuse
think I think it's important for a couple reasons. The first one is just the opportunity to network.
me.
The coaching business, like I guess a lot of businesses, is not just coaching. It's very, very. Everyone hires who they're familiar with. Everyone
Okay.
hires who they know, who they've always dealt with. I think the
Yeah.
Bill Walsh Diversity Internship, it gives you or it gives them an opportunity to say, you know what, this guy is good too. Like we don't have to
Mhm.
always, recycle coaches all the time. I think one of the frustrating things, and I'm vocal about it,
Yeah.
is that in a lot of places, in sports in general, and it's not to knock anyone because there's always situations why things don't work out. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I get that.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys continuously get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and it's just like, okay,
Because
well,
they're
what about
in, right? Yeah.
like it's like you're in, so it's like I guess it gives the minorities an opportunity to be in. It gives us an
Mhm.
opportunity to be in. So and in some cases, once you're in, you're in. In some cases, you can be in for a minute, then maybe not in. So
Yeah.
it kind of just depends. Um, on an individualized or a subjective situation, but I think it's important to keep doing it because again it gives minorities, it gives us opportunities to be in. You can see what we can do, and in addition to that, if there are things that we need to learn, to
Have
grow the
opportunity.
game, now we have the opportunity at the highest level to learn, take it back to where we are, and continue to build our resume, our skill set, our repertoire, if you will,
Yeah.
going forward. So it's just giving you an opportunity to advance yourself. And I think that's why it's so important to continue doing it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't disagree. And if we had a ton of time, I would absolutely continue to ask you more questions about it because I know there are people that one don't know about it, two that often apply and don't get recognized or looked over.
Hmm.
So I know there are tons of coaches out there that want to know how do I make my package, my application be, rise to the top. And so, but because we had to talk about so much, we'll have to say that for another conversation. So
Okay.
I really do want to give men and women insight to that particular program. But let's get back to my baby recruiting. Um, the coaching and recruiting goes hand in hand, right? You
Hmm.
can't be this especially college, right? You can't be this effective coach without the supporting cast, whether it's the players and the coaches. So what is it about recruiting that made you say, hey, you've been a coach, but what is it about recruiting that said, hey, this is my thing?
Um, it's the opportunity to help build and help develop the program.
Hmm.
I'm a big things are built from the inside out, not the outside in.
Hmm.
And I think at the foundation of every good program are the people behind the program doing things that, one, help teach the kids how to be successful on and off the field,
Hmm.
and second, help develop the kids on and off the field. So the recruiting aspect, in comparison to coaching, while yes, the coach is over the development, and a lot of people talk about family, and some guys actually walk in it. Some guys don't. It's it's a
Yeah,
you know it's a bullet
I
point.
understand.
Everybody loves bullet points.
Yeah.
The recruiting is so important. It's the lifeline of college football. I mean, it's you can't have a program. Players make programs. Players and culture makes programs. No coach, I don't care how great they are, has ever been great without good players.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They haven't been great without good players. Now there are some coaches who have great players who may not necessarily be successful with those great players, but that's where coaching comes into effect. I'm not, that is in no way, form, or fashion me saying that coaching is not important. What I'm saying is you need players.
Yes.
And I think, and I could be wrong, I think that the best programs are player led.
Hmm.
But that comes from your culture that you've established. And I think a lot of times the culture in the recruiting department is just as important as the culture on the field or in the locker room. It all goes hand in hand.
For sure. And honestly, you're not going to be able to keep your job if you don't continue to produce,
Right.
good players to, and win games, right? Bottom line. Like you're just not going to be you're not going to be the coach. You're not going to
Right.
be recruiting long if you can't bring those guys in that help you win. That's bottom line of it. Do you have any mentors in the recruiting game?
I, Iran Hodges, I wouldn't call him a mentor. I just call him like a homeboy essentially that I met a while ago that I can just hit up wherever he's at Bama now. I can just hit up and say, hey man, what you think about this? A lot of my mentors are coaches.
Uh-huh.
I've learned my viewpoint on recruiting because I've been a coach for 10 plus years. um, I think I look at it a little differently. I
Hmm.
think about what made me a good coach, and I think one of the things that made me a good coach was my ability to not just relate, but be of service to the student athletes.
Yeah.
That's what my mentors taught me. Like
Yeah.
when someone mentors you, and they allow you to call them and talk to them, that's them being of service to you. Sometimes I got guys I could just call and we ain't said nothing about football, but
Hmm.
because I can talk to you about things that have nothing to do with football, I can just get that off my chest, get that out of my mind, and go back to being effective at what it is that I have to do every day.
Yeah.
So I think that having those types of mentors, or just having some people you can trust, and I throw Ron's name out there again because he and I have had conversations about things that ain't got nothing to do with football. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, well, this is how you handle this. And I'm just using him.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure. Sure.
my guy Butler Benton out of UCLA. Like Butler is a sounding board. I will call him, hey man, what's going on? And we chop it up. Butler was in that NCAA NFL Academy with me a couple years ago when I was at John Kerry.
Okay.
So like that's where we met, and we kind of have stayed in touch since.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple guys in recruiting that I chop it up with, and just some of the guys that I work with every day. We have these conversations where it's about more than ball, and I think if you're gonna be successful in this business, you have to have people who also understand the ball aspect, but you got to
Mm-hmm.
be have people that you can talk to about more than just ball, because the kids are dealing with more than just ball.
Yeah.
So
Real life.
it's
Real
real life.
life.
Like life still
Family,
happens.
friends, girlfriends, all
Right.
of that.
All of these things exist in this realm of trying to be a successful ball player in a successful program. So you have
Right.
to have those types of guys that you can just be real with.
I want to ask you in your 10 years of coaching, there's the big obvious thing that's changed from when you started, which is NIL. But what
Mm.
are some of the other things that you've seen change from the beginning into where you are right now?
Oof. I think players being allowed to express themselves more in terms of how they feel about things.
Hmm.
In some cases, I love it. Some cases, it drives me insane. Because I mean, with anything, you're dealing with young men and kids a lot of times, and I call them kids because I've been, you know, 18 to 23 years old. You are in fact a kid. You're a young man, but you're still a kid. I've been there. I can at 36, I can sit back and say I was still a kid. Um, you run into situations where you want them to have more of a voice. You want to hear more of their opinions, but sometimes you have to understand that their voice and their opinions are based off more of a feeling than experience.
Hmm.
So and sometimes that's an issue. And then you run into a few people um, who at times think that helping them is saving them from everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Especially
and
with these parents, I feel like
yeah,
these parents now.
yeah,
Uh, my parents, no, I'm kidding. Helping these 2000 babies, like they gotta hold their hand through everything.
yeah, and it's not realistic,
Yeah.
and it doesn't. I don't. I work with some young women in the recruiting department, but in terms of coaching on the field, uh, it's all been males, and I can just sit here and say, and put it like this: as a black man raised by a single mom, I'm here to tell you that holding their hand and trying to save them through everything won't help them. It actually, in fact, oftentimes hurts them. So you run across that, but a lot of times that's the biggest difficulty that I see in just people who don't understand. And again, we talking about primarily football, so we talking about what 75% black kids in football. You come across people that don't necessarily understand the culture, so they think that
Yeah.
that's the answer, and it's like no, that's not it. So that's the biggest issue, and you have some of those very intelligent young men who know that they don't really understand, so I can get away with this.
Mhm.
It's like, nah, bruh, I'm not about to let that slide. So no.
Yeah, no,
So
not
I
here.
think I think the biggest difference is the kids. Um, and I say it's good and bad. Having more of a voice.
You said it's good and bad, and has a level of difficulty increased with recruiting now?
Um,
Has it gotten more difficult to
I
recruit?
think at times it can be. It
Mhm.
what makes it more difficult is when you're dealing with a kid and a family who care more about the financial side of it
Mhm.
than the actual substance of
Mhm.
what it is you're trying to do. Um, and you can always run into that difficulty.
Mhm.
Anytime you go somewhere where people are looking for instant gratification, and I feel that sometimes when you base everything off of money,
Mhm.
you're gonna get those people who that's an example of looking for instant gratification. I remember when we were younger, and we all had dreams of we going to the league. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
wanted to work. There was something to be said. It was a badge of honor, of proudness, of working hard, trying to get to the league. What made going to the league so exciting was, man, now I can take care of my family. Versus it's like
Mhm.
early on, I'm expected to take care of my family. I'm 17 years old.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
a
even
child.
know. I don't even know. I don't even know what I want my life to look like yet. And
Mhm.
now I'm expected, to.
I'm taking care of everybody. I'm a retired mom and I'm still in school.
And I think that's the difficulty. The thing about it is there are still a lot of families out there, where parents are like, no, 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 we're gonna make the right decision, and this is not going to dictate, the
Mhm.
decision that you make. We're going to play the long game, which life is the long game. Instant gratification is usually not the answer.
Right.
It's about the journey and what you learn in the process. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm adamant about it. So it's the process. Sometimes the things that what I'm saying, you may be given, but you may not be
Yeah.
ready for it yet. So you have to go along that journey. It's like, yeah, son, you're gonna be a millionaire. You're gonna be able to retire, mom, but you gotta get
Mhm.
there. I need you to learn this,
Gotta
this,
put the
this,
work
and
in.
this to get there first. So
Mhm.
the instant gratification is what drives me insane sometimes, and it's not just the financial; it's with everything, the social media, the stats. Like,
Yes.
come
Yeah. I often ask NFL players to give guidance to kids
on.
that are going through their recruiting process. I love asking guys that have made it. Obviously, most of them, almost all of them, have didn't have NIL again as an option the legal way. But I always ask them, what's your advice to kids that are going through that process? And from where you sit, I want to know if your advice is going to be different than what some of the guys in the league are saying. So what's your advice to the young guys and women that are going through recruiting processes right now?
My
Or
advice
are going.
is, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
My advice is, the devil is in the details. I'm not gonna tell you not to, take a certain amount that someone gives you. A lot of times in the situations that some of us come from, what may be not that much to somebody may change your whole life. I
Mhm.
understand that. Um, but I need these student athletes to really understand that you need to learn everything you can about this program before you make that decision. I need to see who the head coach is, how he conducts himself around his family. Understand who your position coach is, how he conducts himself, around the family. And I know some of that stuff is hard to get. A lot of it has to do with integrity and if people are really who they say they
Yeah.
are.
Or
I know
portray.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that that's hard and you can't always get that right. But I would implore student athletes to, have come when you go on your visits, bring your questions, get
Mhm.
your questions answered. Ask the hard questions. Some questions may be offensive.
Mhm.
I had a parent a couple weeks ago. We had an OV. I had a parent ask our student athletes, and I was in there because we do like some different things we do. She said, "Do players feel safe here?" And her
Mhm.
logic behind it was, "We are in South Georgia.
Mhm. Mhm.
These are African American men." And
Mhm.
what made it uncomfortable is we had another group of parents who were white in there, and I could see their faces. And it's okay, but I said legitimately, it's a fair question.
Yeah.
Your baby is coming to us, and it's our job to make sure that they're safe.
Absolutely.
And they got that answer. They got that answer, and but it's a real question. It may be offensive, but it's reality. Like you
Mhm.
can't be afraid to keep it real. What I'm saying? It's one thing to say we're gonna keep it real. It's another thing that to actually do it when the time
Yeah.
comes to do it. And so you got to just make sure the integrity of the people that are recruiting you and where it is that you want to be are in alignment. That's
And
so
so
important. That's so
it
important.
is, and I love that advice. And like I said, it's one of my favorite questions to ask because everyone has a different opinion or a viewpoint. So that was great. I want to talk a little bit about the Georgia Southern program and kind
Hmm.
of what sets it apart. What would drive a kid to come there? What are those high points that you hit on when you're on the recruiting trail?
I think what sets us apart from a lot of other programs is one. Clay Helton is who he says he is.
Hmm.
What I'm saying? He is truly a family man. He is truly a good man. And there are a lot of people in this business that I would tell you are not good people.
Yeah.
Clay Helton is he's an amazing guy. What I'm saying? I don't pay homage to people like that. I really don't. Like it's like, you okay. I'm one of those people, yeah, all right. Clay sets the tone as the leader.
Okay.
And then everyone else is he hires good people. I mean, of course, I'm saying that he hired me, but he hires good, like our coaching staff, our recruiting department. We all do a great job of being authentic and being genuine. And I think the student athletes that play for us and visit us, they see that. The parents, they see that, and it's going to continue. I think what it does is it increases our rapport with student athletes, high school coaches. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Even sometimes the handlers right now these days that are handling the kids.
Yeah. That's what they
And
call them now,
but
handlers.
yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever you want to call them. But that seriously, we are genuine, and we're gonna show you how genuine we are. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. We're not gonna
Mhm.
BS you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna hold you accountable, and we're gonna allow you to hold us accountable for the things that we say. And
Yeah.
that's the culture that's there. And I'm proud of Coach for that because our culture is undeniable. It's undeniable.
It's a
I tell our student athletes, I'll tell them if you think we BSing, when it's within the legal ramifications of your time clock, come check us out. Come do an unofficial. Seriously, come see it. We're gonna
yeah.
keep it a buck with you. This is what it is here, and this is how we gonna do it. So
I love that.
I think that's what separates us from a lot of programs.
I love that philosophy. That is refreshing to hear. I do want to talk about the elephant in the room,
Okay.
NIL, and the elephants, right? You got NIL and you got the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Briefly on NIL, just tell me what are some of those like maybe misconceptions, whether it's the kids or the parents, things you've noticed that, are just taking way out of context when it comes to NIL, any of those things that we need to highlight so people are informed when it comes to NIL, parents and kids and athletes. Sorry, let me.
I think, and because people are not necessarily transparent about it, I think a lot of times the biggest misconception is that one, every program has a specific amount to pay you.
Mm,
I think the other misconception is uh self created by the student athlete and the parents is that you're deserving you're deserving of a trough of finances simply because of what you did in high school.
mhm,
Um, every roster, every program does things differently. Some rosters are built primarily off the transfer portal. Nowadays, and a few high school kids. Some programs are built primarily off high school kids, and a couple here or there from the transfer portal. Um, with some of the new rules going into implementation with the NCAA, I would implore kids to think less about NIL and more about the structures of the programs and how
mhm.
they can help get you to the next level of life. And when I
Yeah,
say the next level of life, whether it be NFL, um, grad school,
yeah,
law school, whatever it is. And that the biggest misconception again though is that one, you're worth this amount of money
hmm,
based on how you play, and then two, that everyone has this amount of money to give to you. It's not
yeah,
always the case. It is a case by case, school by school thing.
yeah,
NIL is here to stay. It's probably not going anywhere. And then the other part is it's about the give, and a lot of times NIL is name, image, likeness. Well,
yeah,
what are you doing to
yeah,
strengthen your name, your image, and your likeness?
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We in a time now where your name, your image, and your likeness can help you feed yourself and your family.
Hmm.
But what are you doing? Do you have a marketable personality that someone wants to say, "Hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars
Yeah,
to
we'll put you
model
on
our
the
stuff
billboard.
or do a commercial?" Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's less about you as a player and more about you as a person with the
Hmm.
NIL aspect.
I'm
And
glad you said that.
my thing is a lot of times it goes hand in hand. Crappy people make crappy players a lot of times, you know? And sometimes, I mean, there's a few exceptions. You can be a great player and a crappy person, but don't come to me talking about NIL. You're not marketable. Why would
Yeah,
someone want you to do a commercial if they don't like your personality? You know?
I say that about the guys that even make it to the league. I'm like, you need to get a PR team immediately because
Yeah,
you will ruin what your potential because you simply do not know how to act online, you do not know to speak. You know,
hmm
you need to know when to engage and when to disengage.
yeah.
And I think that is so important and it needs to start at a young age. So I appreciate you saying that. I want to talk about the transfer portal here. I've been told some advice, and I want to get your opinion on this. Don't hop into the portal without a destination, or it is one of those situations where like you may not want to unless you know for certain or some you have a high expectation of getting out because it can become this black hole. So I would love to get your point of view or your thoughts on that.
I think the first question is, why are you going in?
Mm,
That's the first question. If you going in because you think, you know, y'all not giving me opportunity to play here, they're gonna give me opportunity to play there. Well, okay, are you sure?
mm-hmm.
First of all, who have you been talking to? Because you ain't in the portal yet, and you shouldn't be talking to them. But we're gonna leave that there. Like we're gonna leave that there. But at the same time, I mean that. Why are you going in? Um, and here's the thing. I Some coaches may do this. I'm only speaking on my behalf and what I've seen against some of the great people that I'm around is no one wants to hold you at your will. I mean against your will.
Yeah.
So if you truly don't want to be there, usually people who don't want to be somewhere, they bring the culture down. So
Mm-hmm.
have a meeting with your position coach or maybe the coordinator or maybe then the head coach, whatever your hierarchy is, and
Mm-hmm.
have those hard conversations. Sometimes you come across players who want to run from those conversations,
So they just hop in
or it's everybody else's fault why you're not playing. And a lot of
accountability.
and again, I'm not saying that situations sometimes just don't work out. That's
Mm-hmm.
life. I get it. And you want an opportunity to go somewhere else. And you deserve that opportunity. But have the conversation about it. Don't just run and say, "Oh, I'm getting the portal." Have a real life conversation about it. And then don't think just because you hop in the portal that someone else is gonna give you an opportunity, you're gonna go be a star somewhere else. Because the
Yeah.
thing is, a lot of times, if you are as good as you think you are, why wouldn't we play you?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It doesn't help our bottom line not to play you. And that's the thing. A lot of times it's student athletes. It's student athletes. And I'm not, well, you're a coach. Of course you say that. Like I'm a part of the fraternity of football because but I'm also a part of the fraternity of keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times it's student athletes who are in denial about what they can be doing, what they should be doing, and what they haven't done. So it's
Mm,
like I'm gonna run away from that reality and hop in the portal and hope and pray that someone else is gonna give me this opportunity, but you haven't learned anything. You took the
mhm.
same bad habits with you from one program to the next one, or you don't get picked up at all. So I think and able to make the best decision,
Yeah.
transfer portal like NIL, it's here. It's here to stay
Mhm.
for now. It's gonna be here. But have those conversations. Have a talk with your position coach. Watch the film. Say, Coach, what can I do to get better? Is there going to be an opportunity for me to get on the field here? If Coach
Yeah.
says yes, do those things. If Coach says no, then we need to talk about, maybe me transferring and starting anew somewhere else. That's okay, but don't run away from the conversation. I put that on the onus of the players because you
Yeah.
have to care. You have to care more about your future than anybody else does. So you can't run from reality. And I think just the mindset. I told you, instant gratification.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all goes hand in hand. You want instant gratification, but you don't want what comes with the instant gratification. A lot of times, it's also instant ridicule too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You
it
definitely
just.
have to have a level of accountability. And I think
Mhm.
with NIL, with options like the transfer portal, it allows or opens up space for kids to not or student athletes. I'm sorry to keep calling y'all kids, student athletes to not take accountability
Mhm.
for what they like again have and have not done. either on or off the field, because everything isn't necessarily what you can do on the field, but it's like, how are you acting off of the field? Are you building this locker room? Are you, the glue? Are you, or are you the one going against the grain, making it difficult to operate as a unit? So all those things play a factor. So
Yeah, you got to
I'm not
consider
even in the locker
everything.
room, you know.
Yeah, it's consider everything. It's not always coach don't want to play me. No, I promise you, it's less that and more about what you're doing or not doing. Because
Hmm.
again, I don't know too many coaches. I mean, this is our livelihood.
Yeah,
You're gonna play the best players, and I'm gonna assume again there are those outliers. There are those
absolutely.
outliers, but I'm gonna assume I'm gonna go probably the 90th percentile. Most coaches, if you're the best, you're gonna play you. When I
Yeah.
say the best, that's on the field, off the field, and as far as for the culture. Now, sometimes you're a hell of an athlete, but you're doing things that are bringing the morale of the team down. And yeah, I'm not condoning that. So, but
Mm-mm.
again, that too is an outlier. I think a lot of the student athletes who are blessed to play, especially at the Division 1 level,
Yeah.
that's a
But
small percentage of student
mhm.
athletes. So most of them, I believe, truly are awesome student athlete, awesome people, you
Yeah.
know. But you just ugh. Just thinking
I
about it, I'm
get
like,
it.
really?
I totally get it. And I want to thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like there's so many questions when it comes to recruiting that I could ask you, and we just uh bring out of time. But I want to give you the floor to one, give some top tier recruiting advice as we get ready to close out there, and then also just some thoughts of where kids can find you, how they can spruce up their online presence to attract people like you. So I want to give you the floor to kind of pitch some high level things that kids need to know, and then how to brand themselves to attract people like you to them.
Well, first and foremost, show up on Friday nights. When I
Hmm.
say show up and put on a show. And when I say put on a show, I'm not talking about dancing in the end zone after you score. I'm talking about showing up through what you're doing as far as your execution. Um, Secondly, is your social media, because I know that's a big thing. Clean up the social media. We are watching who you are. A lot of times, and for a lot of people, what you do defines, who you are. May not always be the case, but outside looking in, there are so many student athletes being recruited. That's how you're going to be viewed. So what
Hmm.
you're doing is going to us oftentimes define who you are. So make sure that, and don't be fake about it, because we're gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you know,
They do their research.
yeah, we gonna. It's our job to do our research.
Yeah.
And then secondly, just be real and be honest. Be
Yeah.
honest. Learn how to speak. When I say learn how to speak, I mean, what's up, coach? What's up, bruh? Now, again, outliers. I'm okay with it to an extent.
Hmm.
Once we establish that rapport, I'm gonna talk to you how I talk to some of my homeboys, because some student athletes, some of you, I'm gonna just say it, who's watching this. Some of y'all can't relate no other way. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you, in a
You're
way
gonna
that
meet
you
them
can
where
under
they are.
that you can understand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just learn how to properly communicate. That doesn't mean be disrespectful. That doesn't mean, you know, using lingo and all that. It's like, what? No. Yes, sir. No, sir. I'm not too big on the sir. That's a me thing. You can be respectful without the sir. Sometimes the stuff is overly subservient, and it's just like, you're
Mhm.
above. No, no. I'm gonna talk to you like a young man. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. But that's again, that's a me thing. Um, but yeah, be who you say you are. Be who you say you are. What you do is your billboard. What you look like is your billboard. What you're watching is your billboard. How you speak is your billboard. All of those things are your billboard. So you want to make sure your billboard looks good,
Yeah.
And then as far as the NIL stuff goes, be marketable. What's your niche? What else? What else are you about? You're a hell of a ball player. All right. So what next?
Yeah. What
What
else?
what makes what makes someone say, you know what? I want him to represent us. You got to find different ways to stand out. So,
Mm,
you know, I'm all about just coming and being your most authentic self. The film is gonna speak for itself. And film is easy. You're either talented enough to us or
mhm.
you're not. And just because you may not be talented enough to us doesn't mean you may not fit someone else. And then
Mm,
that's the last thing, fit. Make sure that where you choose to go is a fit for who you are and what you're about.
okay. Yeah,
And
I
that's
love it.
saying a lot. Yeah,
I love it.
and y'all can find me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. You haul the
I was
ball
about to say, where
all the
can they
time.
find you online?
I'm there. You,
Where
it's the same thing. It's
what's your
U-Haul. It's
U-Haul?
yeah, it's U-Haul. My first initial U, last name Hall, and then Theball. U-Haul the ball on Instagram and Twitter. I'm
Y'all
right
go
there.
find
I'm not
Coach.
private. Just click it and shoot me a DM. I try to read as many as I can. I'm so behind on DMs. I'm letting y'all know now. I don't plan on reading anything over the next 2 weeks. So hit me
I'm
up.
with you. Look, he's on vacation. I'm jealous. I want to take one of those very, very soon. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe September. But I want to thank you, Coach Hall, for joining me today in the Coach's Corner. And I wish we had more time because there's so many things that I feel like we didn't get to cover. I had a feeling we weren't going to be able to
It's
cover
okay.
everything,
We have to
but
do it again. That's
we'll
okay.
have to do it again for
You got to
sure.
tease the part two.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be checking in. And I wish you the best season, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you before everything gets busy and kicks off here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon, Coach.